The funeral for Jay Slater will be a celebration of his life, according to his family. The 19-year-old from Oswaldtwistle, Lancashire, had his remains repatriated to the UK last week from Tenerife. Officials subsequently stated that he passed away on June 17, the day he went missing, following trauma consistent with a fall in a rocky area. His disappearance spurred a high-profile month-long search. In honor of him, well-wishers are encouraged to wear blue during his funeral on August 10 at Accrington Cemetery Chapel. Before going missing, Mr. Slater had gone to the NRG Music Festival with two companions. The last place he was seen was at the rural Ditino Park in the Canary Islands north. After a night out, he had gone to an Airbnb in Masca. But the two men who were alleged to have leased the apartment were later determined to be not relevant to the case. Mr. Slater may have fallen in the steep, unreachable spot where he was found, according to the Spanish Civil Guard. A family homage summarizing the apprentice bricklayer's life's highlights and passions was given to him. They stated, after Jay left Ridings High School, he went on to become an apprentice bricklayer with the PH Build Group, a job he greatly enjoyed. He also loved spending time chilling out with his friends. Jay began playing football at the age of 5 and continued to play with Huncote United FC until he was 17. He also played for a few seasons on the Sunday squad at St. Joseph's. Jay loved going to music festivals, and his family remarked, Jay will be very sadly missed by all those who knew him. Following the confirmation of her son's identity in a body discovered in Tenerife, the mother of British teenager Jay Slater says the family's hearts are broken. The worst news was her son's passing, according to Debbie Duncan, who also said, I just can't believe this could happen to my beautiful boy. Authorities claim that trauma consistent with a fall in a rocky area is what killed the 19-year-old, and they also mentioned that fingerprint analysis identified Mr. Slater's body as the one that was discovered in Masca on Monday. The charitable organization LBT Global had already verified that Mr. Slater's belongings had also been found close to his last known location. The teenager, who was last seen on June 17, was from Oswaldtwistle, Lancashire, and had visited an Airbnb that two of his companions from the NRG Music Festival on the island had booked. Asterisk devastating for the family. Vile Jay Slater trolling fall from substantial height. We have a positive identification and more data. Fingerprint tests show that the body is that of Jay Slater and that the death was caused by trauma consistent with a fall in a rocky area, the Canary Islands High Court of Justice had earlier stated. When Mr. Slater's mother learned that her son's remains had been identified, LBT Global's Matthew Searle was there and reported the family was devastated. He continued, the announcement does seem to confirm that Jay died of injuries consistent with an accidental fall from a considerable height. Mr. Searle announced that the family would receive support to make this horrific time as easy as possible from the foundation, which assists families in cases involving missing persons abroad. He continued, we are working with the family now to sort out the next steps of taking Jay home, recovery of his belongings, and laying him to rest. Documentation belonging to the apprentice bricklayer was recovered with the deceased, according to a previous court statement made today. It is confirmed that the documentation that was on the body found yesterday in the mountains of Masca belongs to Jay Slater, added the statement. The report continued by saying that everything suggests that it was an accidental fall, but it would take longer to get the official investigation's findings. On Monday, a mountain rescue team from the Spanish Civil Guard found Mr. Slater's body close to the village of Masca. Why did Spanish police announce that they had canceled the search? The island's Civil Guard announced just 2 weeks ago that the search had been canceled, but the inquiry was still ongoing. It is now evident that the force was actually still conducting searches at this time. Police made an attempt to preserve the natural space to ensure it did not fill up with curious onlookers, which may have been a clue as to why. That seemed to be a reference to the enormous amount of interest the case garnered in the UK, especially on social media, where ludicrous conspiracy theories began to circulate. Some internet investigators even traveled to Tenerife to assist with the search. When a case like this is still pending, the Spanish police provide very little information to the media, in contrast to the UK, where officers frequently brief the press throughout investigations. Nevertheless, they stated that nothing. Jay sustained many injuries consistent with a fall in the steep terrain, according to an autopsy. Jay Slater's distraught mother has disclosed that 19 days after his discovery, after a month-long search, she has flown back to Britain with his remains. Debbie Duncan, 55, and Jay's brother Zach, 24, as well as their supporting father Warren, 58, made the painful trip from Tenerife to Manchester Airport last week. Debbie is currently organizing the 19-year-old's funeral, which will take place in Accrington Cemetery Chapel on Saturday of next week. In honor of the deceased, attendees are asked to wear blue. After leaving Ridings High School, Jay went on to become an apprentice bricklayer with the PH Build Group, a job he greatly enjoyed, said a heartfelt obituary published on behalf of Jay's family. Read MOR. Jay Slater's autopsy discloses the terrible details of the teen's death. READMOR. Following the unfortunate teen's autopsy results, Jay Slater's mother receives a chilling warning. At the young age of 5, Jay started playing football for Huncote United FC until the age of 17 and also did a few seasons with the Sunday team at St. Joseph's too. He also cherished his free time spent with pals. Jay has always loved dance and music, even as a small child. In addition to enjoying socializing and meeting new people, he loved going to music festivals and events around the nation. Jay will be deeply missed by everyone who knew him. He was a devoted son of Debbie and Warren, a beloved brother of Zach and brother-in-law of Jessica, a cherished grandson of Dawn, June, and the late Dougie, a much-loved nephew of Glenn and Katie, a dear cousin of Maddie and Tilly, and a devoted friend to many. Debbie has promised to give her son the farewell he deserves, and she intends to spend a portion of the £74,156 that her supporters have contributed to cover the cost of the ceremony. The remaining funds will cover his repatriation expenses and those of his friends and family who travel to the vacation island to assist with the search. With addition to professional searchers, one of whom went from the Netherlands to aid with his recovery, they also cover lodging, transport expenses, and other costs for them. After a 29-day search, Jay's body was airlifted out of the mountains in northwest Tenerife on July 15 after being found in a region that authorities had characterized as impassable. The apprentice bricklayer from Oswald Twistle, Lance, vanished on June 17 after being spotted at around 8 a.m. departing Casa Abuelatina, a rented property in the isolated village of Masca. After partying at Playa de las Americas Papagayo nightclub, Jay left with 2 British men who drove him the 20 miles to the £40 per night house. The next morning, he tried to walk the 11 hours back to his own accommodations in the south of the island, and he used the opportunity to make video and phone calls to his close friends Brad Hargreaves and Lucy Law, who had accompanied him on the vacation. Jay informed 18-year-old Lucy, in what is thought to have been his last conversation, at 8:30 a.m. that he had hurt his leg on a cactus, missed a bus, and his phone's battery was only at 1%. During a previous video chat, Brad, 19, saw Jay trip over some pebbles while trying to make his way through the Parque Rural Dictano Natural Reserve to go to their Los Cristianos apartment. For nearly a month, Jay's disappearance captivated Britain, sparking a flurry of wild conjecture and conspiracy theories on social media. These hypotheses included the following: that he had been kidnapped, murdered by gangsters, carried off the island on a boat, or even that he was in hiding due to mounting debts. Aidub Qasim, a convicted drug dealer, and a friend who went by the name Rocky rented the apartment from Jay, and there were rumbling rumors that he had stolen a £12,000 Rolex watch shortly before he vanished, and that he was scared when he left. The police determined that these people were irrelevant to the investigation. Debbie, Jay's mother, was also subjected to vilification, with some even drawing comparisons between her and Karen Matthews, the Yorkshire mother who staged Shannon's abduction in 2008. Jay sustained many injuries associated with a fall in the hilly terrain, according to an autopsy performed later. Eerie signs of life have reportedly been spotted at the barren ravine where Jay Slater went missing. The mysterious disappearance of the British teen in the remote rural Daytino area of Tenerife has left many concerned. 19-year-old apprentice bricklayer Jay vanished on June 17 while enjoying a 3-day music festival with mates. After leaving his friends, he headed to an errand with 2 others and later tried to return to his lodgings on foot in the early morning hours. Embarking on what would be a dangerous 11-hour walk, Jay rang a friend to say his phone battery was nearly dead. He was dehydrated and had injured his leg on a cactus. The last signal from his mobile was detected in the mountainous vicinity of Masca village, which became the focal point for the Spanish police's search until they ceased operations last Sunday. While Jay's family and friends persist in their search with the help of an ex-British detective, journalists have described strange signs of life at the unforgiving landscape. Mail and Line's Fred Kelly described the scene saying, "Sharp-needled cacti grow higher than a man's head, and there's no sound other than the noise of geckos scuttling in the undergrowth and the distant howl of the wind above the ravine." Revealing haunting signs of human life, he continued. In a sinister twist, the Mail found eerie signs of life in one of 2 ruined homesteads in the ravine. Shoelaces tied with twigs to form haunting symbols like something out of a horror film, empty water bottles, and, most strange of all, a set of clean women's clothes. TikTok influencer and amateur climber Paul Arnett, who has been searching for Jay in Tenerife, said he found a new clue on Monday. The 29-year-old, who has been backed by Jay's heartbroken mum Debbie and is in regular contact with the family, suggested that a pair of broken sunglasses, which resemble those Jay had previously been seen wearing, could be a clue. Mir Arnett said on TikTok, "Moving forward, a lot of new things have come out due to interviews. There are quite a few things I'm going to chase up today as well. One is a 3-word GPS. The other, apart from that, is a pair of sunglasses that were found by a man called Chris, who I'll be meeting up with later today." Jay's dad, Warren, previously said he did not think it was a good idea for the family to search in the ravine themselves due to how dangerous it is. He said, "These are big mountains. The terrain is dangerous," adding, "It's tough, it's hard." But after the Civil Guard called off their active search, the family have trekked to try and find him. Warren expressed his determination on Wednesday, saying, "We've been all the way down. We've walked as far as you can until it's too dangerous," he added. This is where his phone last pinged. "This was the valley, and I've come to the point of no return. We followed the path all the way down the valley. If I had mountain boots on and some ropes, I would go for it. But I can't do it in Adidas sandals." In a heart-wrenching social media post, the girlfriend of missing teenager Jay Slater's brother paid tribute to him shortly after Spanish authorities announced the discovery of human remains during their search for the young man. On Monday, July 15, it was revealed that police search teams looking for the 19-year-old had found human remains. The horrifying discovery came exactly 4 weeks since the teenager disappeared. Spanish Civil Guard stated that all signs point towards the found remains being Jay's, as they also recovered some of his personal belongings from the location. A Lancashire police representative mentioned that the indications are that this is Jay Slater, whilst liaising with Spain's Guardia Civil, despite the formal identification of the body yet to take place. Read more. Mayor who flew to Tenerife to search for Jay Slater says, "You've done him proud," as he issues heartfelt message to family the retrieved body, situated in a sheer ravine merely 20 minutes away from where Jay's mobile last sent out a signal, was hoisted out by mountain rescue professionals. The teen's family are currently on standby for a post-mortem examination to verify if the body is indeed Jay's. Jessica Rogers, who is dating Jay Slater's brother, took to social media just a few hours post the police's confirmation of the body's discovery. She shared an image of Jay enclosed by a blue love heart and wrote, "Will love you forever," according to Mail Online reports Mail Online. A heartfelt tribute has been posted on Instagram by Jay's close friend, Brad Hargreaves, following the tragic news. In his post, Brad wrote, "No words. Nothing will be the same without you. Rest easy, brother. Love you always." Sharing a public story accompanied by a picture of both of them and broken heart emojis is further testament to the profound loss sensed by Brad. A spokesperson for the Civil Guard declared had been ruled out. It is believed that he passed away right away. The family of tragic Brit Jay Slater returned to the UK last week, on the same day that Jay's body was repatriated, stated Matt Searle of LBT Global, the missing people charity that assisted the family in repatriating Jay's body. The coroner ordered a UK post-mortem, which came to the conclusion that Jay's death was due to traumatic head injuries that were consistent with the height fall. Additionally, the study emphasized that his demise would have occurred instantly. The family has asked that flowers be sent to Jay's home, but they also said that anyone would be more than welcome to bring a single rose. Instead of sending flowers, they are asking people to donate to LBT Global through a specifically created page at haps/rememberingjay.racelicet.com/. Following the discovery of the reason of Jay Slater's death last week, his family is now faced with the difficult process of bringing their beautiful boy home. After a heartbreaking search for Jay Slater, his family is now faced with the difficult job of reuniting with their beautiful boy. When Jay, 19, went missing on June 17 while vacationing in Tenerife with pals, a desperate 29-day search was launched. Regretfully, the apprentice bricklayer's body was discovered in the rural Ditino Park, northwest of the island, only a few meters from his last known position, ending any chance of discovering him alive. Tenerife officials warned that because of the body's extremely deteriorated condition, determining the cause of death would need some time. Authorities have cobbled together a picture of the British teen's tragic end, disclosing painful details about his last moments, following the autopsy results. After a preliminary examination, the cause of death was determined to be a fall or plunge from height due to the broken bones he suffered. A spokesman for the Civil Guard verified that Jay had multiple fractured bones. He said, "Identification and fingerprint comparison have allowed us to identify the man's body as Jay Slater, who was found yesterday. Because of his damaged bones, the preliminary autopsy's findings indicate that a fall or plunge from a height was the cause of death." According to a source close to Jay's family who spoke to Mail Online, they take some very small comfort in the fact that it seems likely that Jay passed quite instantly. Following the official identification of Jay's remains, Debbie, his distraught mother, said, "It's unbelievable that we're waiting for an update with the embassy staff here, and now the worst news has come. It absolutely amazes me that my gorgeous son could experience this." The Mirror says, "Our hearts are broken." After hearing the heartbreaking news, the family is now going through another difficult wait in hopes of bringing Jay's remains back to the UK. On the fundraising page that was previously used for the search, Debbie Duncan, who is devastated, is now pleading for funeral donations in an attempt to provide her beloved son with the send-off he deserves.